what's up everyone? It's Mark Starr with another session of the Hopry. Today we're going to be taking a look at part 2 of our 3-part series this week, looking at Green Flash, which is a San Diego brewery, and they're really well known for making some extremely hoppy beers. In fact, they have a beer that I reviewed a while back called the West Coast IPA, and that one really focuses in on those hops. A lot of people who are very familiar with the West Coast type of IPAs know that they really are just flooded with hops, don't have a whole lot of malt backbone, at least in the darker types of malts. They're typically more on the pale yellow and warm golden color. But I have not had this one, believe it or not, and that is obviously, as I said on Monday, because we just got Green Flash in the Kansas City market within about the last week or so. So anyway, I have had the West Coast IPA, have not had the Imperial IPA here, which this one clocks in at 9.4% and has an IBU count of 101. So they've taken it just a touch over the 100 mark, and so I'm imagining that this is going to be quite bitter, probably going to have a boatload of hops in there. But let's go ahead and find out, because that's the only way to know, is to bust a cap and get it in the glass. And I do want to point out before we get going here that on Friday, please come back and we're going to be taking a look at the Silva Stout, which is a barrel-aged Imperial Stout from that brewery. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this one into a glass. Alrighty. Well, immediately upon pouring it, it looks about exactly like what I would think it would. It's got a touch of hop haze on there, even maybe just a little bit of chill haze, but really it's got this really warm sunset orange color. Lots of carbonation in there. I can see those bubbles just kind of screaming right up to the top of the glass. Head color, off-white. It's about the same color as the one we saw on the Red's Rye, maybe a touch lighter. This is closer to that eggshell color that we talk about sometimes. The consistency on those bubbles, though, is really the important thing for me when I look at a beer. And this one is a lot similar, again, to the red IPA that we looked at on Monday. So overall, at least in terms of color, looks exactly like it should. Let's see what it's got to offer up in the nasal area here. Okay, so you're definitely getting that dank character that you get from some of your heavily hopped IPAs. Modus Hoperandi comes to mind first, maybe even Surly, something from Surly like the Abrasive Ale. So it's got that real dank, pungent spice character. Lots of pine, some tangerine, even a little bit of, like over-ripened peach and mango. So it's really got that sort of, tropical fruit going on in here. Really a nicely aromatic hopping on this beer. But yeah, let's go ahead and taste it. I'm dying to. Cheers. So it's not as, when I talk about the mango and, those sort of tropical fruit components, I don't get a whole lot of that in the taste. Obviously at 101 IBUs, the thing that I get right up front is that bitterness, that carbonation from the beer. About mid-palate, it starts to dry out, starts to really become bitter, but more drying. You're getting lots of that, traditional pine, a lot of citrus, almost like a orange peel. And when I say orange peel, that's because when you cut the rind off of citrus fruits like that, you really get a lot of that bitterness. So the grapefruit, how grapefruit is just extremely bitter. I'm getting a lot of that grapefruit character, a lot of citrus, maybe even some really good bitter grassiness out of there. This one really reminds me of the Ballast Point Sculpin You know, it's the Ballast Point Sculpin. There's the Hair of the Dog Blue Dot. You know, those are really kind of along the same lines as this. This is really highlighting the bitterness of the hops, the flavor of the hops. The aroma and the flavor on this one, believe it or not, are a little bit different, which that's good. You smell it, and again, you know, even after smelling it again, I get a lot of that peach character, maybe a little bit of mango, a little bit of pineapple. Very tropical on the nose, but once it hits your palate, you know, it's all bitterness, it's all grapefruit, all grass. There is a very, you know, faint amount of sweetness in there from the hop, or from the malt, excuse me. But all in all, you know, I think this is probably about where I expected it to be. You know, it definitely represents that West Coast style of IPA, where the focus is not on the malt, but rather really on those hops. And you know, if you're somebody that just really likes hops, you know, you really can't go wrong with this one. To be honest, it doesn't stand out. You know, when I think about some of the better, well, I say better, but the more sought after IPAs like Pliny, even Ballast Point Sculpin, things like that, I would have to say that those are maybe just a touch better in their wow factor. This one doesn't really have a whole lot of wow factor. It's just kind of, you know, what it is. Lots of hop, you know, good taste. I could see this one really changing over the course of, you know, 3 to 5 months. But anyway, really good beer. You know, nothing to complain about by any stretch of the imagination. If you can get a hold of one, that's great. I would say probably go for the West Coast IPA if you have to make a choice. But anyway, that's it for today, guys, and I really hope you enjoyed this session. Hope you look forward to this bad boy on Friday, because I definitely do. I've been hanging on to that one for quite a while and really anxious to bust the cap on that one. So, well, that's it for today, and until we get together next time, my name is Mark Starr. Cheers!